Hi guys, and in this week's video I'm going to show you how I made my Lupusregina hat from Overlord. I started off by first wrapping my head in some I first covered my head in glad wrap. Then I made a paper cone that would eventually become her ear. I then secured the cone to my head with some duct tape and covered it in more glad wrap. Then I drew a semi-straight line down the center of my head. Then once again covered everything in duct tape. And now that I had my final pattern, I went ahead and cut it out and cleaned up all the edges. I then cut a cross section that split the pattern into a front and back piece. Both patterns were further cut into two pieces, and I laid them out onto some white fabric and traced them with some seam allowance, leaving about 4 inches of extra fabric at the bottom. I made a duplicate of the pattern, this time on black fabric. I then pinned all the black panels together and sewed them with my machine. I then sewed all the white panels together. Remember the extra 4 inches of fabric I left at the bottom? Well, I simply folded it upward and drew a curved line that matched the shape of the rim of the hat in the reference image. I then added some seam allowance and cut the new edge. I now had two identical hats, one in white and one in black. I turned the white hat inside out and placed it inside the black hat. Then holding the white and the black ears in place, I sewed just the tips together. Now it was time to finish off the edges. This part was really tricky and I hope I never have to do anything like this again. I then pinned all the folded layers together and repeated this process along the entire rim of the hat. And then with the most intense concentration humanly possible, I sewed everything together. Then it was time to make things pretty. I brushed on some fabric glue onto a ribbon and placed it onto the hat. And that was a complete waste because it didn't stick, so I had to sew everything on by hand. For the emblem, I simply cut some diamonds out of 2mm craft foam, painted them yellow and stuck them on. And for the finishing touches, I added some orange to the contours of the diamonds to really make them pop. Finally, I sewed on some red ribbons and that was it. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe.